Good morning, everyone. My name is Marion Ebel. I'm a policy director and also director of corporate affairs at Lighting Europe. I'm very happy to welcome you to the Open Days to discover the value of the membership of Lighting Europe. Before we begin, I would like to share some rules that we will all have to follow during this webinar. First of all, as for any Lighting Europe call, we have to follow the general code of conduct. I will remind the principles under the code of conduct, as many of you have never participated to Lighting Europe calls before. So under no circumstances should members exchange information or any competitive matter. Information to be exchanged should be limited to that necessary to accomplish implementation of the Lighting Europe policies. Any sensitive competitive information should be provided, if necessary, only to independent third party offering satisfactory guarantees of confidentiality. Every meeting between members should have a specific demonstrated purpose. Any contact between members should be for a legitimate purpose only. And of course, if there is any violation, it's a serious breach and it will be severely sanctioned. For the webinar that we have today, some rules that we all have to follow. So please be aware that all webcams and microphones will be turned off, with the exception, of course, of the speakers. You can share your comments and questions in the chat box. Please indicate your name and the organization you represent, so it's easier for us to indicate that to our speaker. Please note that the webinar is recorded. It will be published on our YouTube channel, and by connecting, you accept that your name and image, of course, if you turn on your camera, will appear. Slides and recording of the webinar will be sent to the participants and made available on our website. Note that please no artificial intelligence tool is allowed in this call, so please do not use them. And please give your feedback on this event. You have the link on the slide, and once you get the slides, you have the opportunity to share your feedback as well. So our speaker today is Elena Scaroni. Elena Scaroni is the Secretary General of Lighting Europe since June 2023. But, you know, she has much more experience with the association as she was policy director before since September 2016. And in particular, working on eco-design and energy labeling regulation for light sources and also environmental matters. Before Lighting Europe, she worked at Enel, which is a multinational energy company. And at the time, she was working on relations with the European Parliament. She studied in Rome in Paris, and she has a master's degree in law and, of course, specialized, like many of us, in European affairs. So before we pass the floor to Elena and we share with you a little bit more what we're going to speak about today, I will pass the floor to my colleague Teresa.
Thank you, Marion. Good morning, everybody. Welcome also from my side. I'm Teresa Selvaggio. I'm a Director of Public Affairs at Lighting Europe. So I've been tasked this morning to break a bit the ice with you. And to do that, we have prepared a very short Mentimeter survey. So I will kindly invite you to register, join this Mentimeter survey. So you can do that either through the website menti.com, entering the code that is displayed here on the screen. Otherwise, if you prefer, you can scan the QR code that is shown. I see that we only have 3 people who registered, so I will give you some time. Don't be shy. It's just a moment to break the ice and create a bit of interactivity. I see somebody else is joining. Again, don't worry, it's anonymous. You will not be judged, or it's not a real test or quiz. So I think I will start with the questions. I see people are joining. Thank you so much for your availability. So here I have a first question. You see on the bottom a list of acronyms. These are acronyms that we use on a daily basis, I would say. Most of the time, yeah, it's part of the game. It's European jargon, but I would like to learn and understand from you how familiar you are with these acronyms and to understand which ones you really know. And somehow, sorry if I laugh, but let me say, without any surprise, I understand that April is a nightmare for many of us. So we know that quite well. It's the database where you need to register your light sources, and then you get the energy label. Also, the WE is familiar to you. I'm a bit surprised by the fact that you do not recognize the ESPR, that is the Eco-Design for Sustainable Products Regulation. It's the new eco-design framework that will heavily impact the eco-design for lighting products, and it will come most probably or possibly with the DPP, that is the Digital Product Passport. Now, thank you for your answers. I will move to the next question. Let us understand what do you expect from this session this morning? Why did you register? Why are you now connected? What do you expect from the Open Days of Lighting Europe? But that, as far as I know, is a first in history. Here it's an open-ended question, so you are free to type your answers. I give you your suggestion. For example, you want to understand what are our plans for next year, or what are the activities that we are carrying out. You want to know about the fees or the conditions of being a member. Let us understand what brought you here with us this morning. An update on what is going on, I suppose, at European level, so the legislative and probably the political developments as well. Anybody else who is feeling like sharing his or her thoughts? If not, I will pass to learn more about Lighting Europe. Thank you, so that you are not shy anymore. Our policy priorities and our membership conditions, get to know the team of Lighting Europe. Here we are, indeed. I'm curious to know more how Lighting Europe supports beyond organizations such as ZBI in Germany. So what we do more than the national associations, probably, upcoming activities and the standard regulations development for lighting, and in general activities of Lighting Europe. So, to know better what Lighting Europe can support our company in the update of EU legislation for lighting, is it only for suppliers of lighting? I'm quite sure I can anticipate that you will receive an answer to these questions. And now I pass the floor again to my colleagues, and also to check if the agenda that we have prepared for you does match your expectations. Please, colleagues, I pass over to you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Teresa. So before indeed Elena can present everything to you, I think that our agenda matches quite well the questions we received. So thank you very much for your input. So today, what you will get is, of course, an overview of Lighting Europe's objectives and activities. So who we are, what is our mission, what is our vision, how do we support our members, what are the services we offer, how do we support our members. Obviously, what's the impact of the work we do? And especially Elena, I know she will highlight some key initiatives, some key files we're working on, and what we plan to do in 2026. Some indication about how to become a member, a surprise new initiative for you as well. And of course, we will close with the Q&A. And as I mentioned before, feel free to also drop your questions in the chat while Elena will be speaking. We're also very happy to see that we have, let's say, a wide range of people joining the call today. Of course, this was primarily tailored for companies that could become members of Lighting Europe, but we see we have also organizations that we collaborate with. We have some members of the value chain with designers, for instance. So of course, you will hear about how to become a member of Lighting Europe, which might not be relevant for you, but it's also an opportunity to learn more about our ongoing activities and what we will do next. So thanks a lot for joining, and we look forward to a fruitful discussion during the Q&A. So Elena, please.
Thank you, Marion. Thank you, Teresa, and welcome everyone. Now we will move forward and get to know what Lighting Europe is. So Lighting Europe is the trade association representing the lighting manufacturing industry in Europe. We have 32 members, and we represent altogether more than 1,000 companies. If you want to know exactly who our members are, you will see that some of them are associations, national associations, and others are companies. If you want to know which regions do we cover in Europe, have a look at the left side. So you will see the logos of the associations from Finland, from Turkey, from Belgium, from Spain. From Italy, we have 2 associations, from Sweden, from Norway. We have 3 associations from France, from Ireland, from UK. We have 2 from the Netherlands, 2 from Poland, and Germany. On the right side, the companies, for sure you recognize at least a couple of logos on this part of the slide. We represent indeed large companies, medium, and also small and very small companies. You probably are curious to know what is the opinion of those who are already members of Lighting Europe. Are they satisfied with the work we do? So in this slide that comes from a survey we have been running thanks to a third party, so a third party, neutral party run this survey at the beginning of this year. We do that every year to see how the level of satisfaction evolves with our members. You will see that the level of satisfaction of members of Lighting Europe has been growing over time, is now quite stable, and I can say that most of members are either mostly satisfied or very satisfied. If you want to know if they believe that our industry association is useful for the whole lighting industry, I think the answer they would give you is very clear. So you see this other survey results. The last one is the 2025, so the upper line. You will see that most of our members strongly believe that Lighting Europe is useful for the lighting industry. And now, that's the typical elevator pitch. So in case you have no more time, you have a lot of stuff on your agenda today, you want to leave, you are feeling the pressure, oh my God, I have so many other things to do, I need to leave soon. Well, at least you can have a look at this slide and get the full picture and summary of what are the benefits of being a member of Lighting Europe. So the first value, the first benefit is to receive information in advance. So on trends from legislation, rules in general, market policy trends, you will receive them, of course, via our basic tools, so newsletter and the webinars. We organize 2-3 every month, 2-3 times every month. But of course, if you engage daily in our activities, working group, expert group, you will receive much more and much more in advance, even more in advance, the information you need. But Lighting Europe is not just about spreading the word and informing members. Lighting Europe is about acting to modify, shape, influence rules that have a direct impact on your products, on lighting products. What's coming up this year, in 2026, is extremely useful, impactful for our industry. First of all, the rules, the lighting specific rules, eco-design and energy labeling, including those that concern your beloved April database, will be reviewed, but also other key files are under review. New files in particular are coming up. Ban of PFAS, global warming potential, simplification proposals. So these are also good news, you know. The EU is working to have simplified or less rules, but there again, the devil is in the details. So you need to know, when does it start, the simplification? How would that have an impact on you? Is that the right simplification for our industry? So also files that from a first sight look just positive may have a weird impact on our company. So it's always important that we follow and we influence the debate. We also are following and influencing the national implementation of the EPBD, that I'm happy to know it's a known file to at least a couple of you, and we will be working on artificial light at night, so outdoor lighting and night light. When it comes to other benefits, so it's not just the updates that you will receive from Lighting Europe and the chance to influence, but also training. So imagine how much you need to invest in hiring a consultant, a trainer, and then make sure that your team is always updated. With Lighting Europe, this is part, of course, of the basic services you will receive. Recently, we're specialized in trainings related to environmental topics, so environmental product declaration, decarbonization. In the past, we have been focusing, for example, a lot on eco-design, energy labeling rules, and the April database with specific trainings. We publish guidelines that are available not only for the direct members of Lighting Europe, but those are members of our national associations. We coordinate standardization activities that have a direct impact on our products at European and even at global level. We organize online and face-to-face events where you can meet your peers, discuss the challenges of our industries, network not only with other peers and stakeholders, but even with policymakers. We regularly invite our members to attend official meetings with EU institutions so that you can directly voice the concern of our industry, directly participating into these meetings. We are the ambassadors of the value of lighting, of a new mindset. We want to call it like this: lighting comes first. And then we are connected to the Global Lighting Association. In this way, good principles that are in place in Europe can be spread all around the world, thanks to our peers, sister lighting associations in other regions of the world. But then you will ask yourself, okay, but what are the main principles? What is the vision? What is the strategy of Lighting Europe? Is that just following what's coming up from the EU institution and try to influence day by day? I will instead answer that we have a mission, a new vision that has just been approved now already in 2023, beginning and then started officially in 2024. And this is a new strategy that is looking at 2030. In particular, the first key objective is about lighting comes first. So the vision of Lighting Europe is to make sure that in 2030, the value of lighting, so the benefits in terms of well-being, in terms of performance, in terms of safety, are recognized, acknowledged, not only by the policymakers we talk to every day, but also by all the other stakeholders in the value chain, the authorities, the cities. And so we want to make sure that lighting is not the last item in a legislative or political debate or in a construction or renovation project. Instead, is one of the first priority items. This is what we call the lighting comes first mindset. Global thought and technical leader. This is where we make sure that the expertise that we'll be building over the years, technical expertise in different fields, can be serving the whole industry, not only at European level, but also at global level. This is our engagement in standardization bodies and in the Global Lighting Association to make sure that what is good for Europe can also be exported somehow outside our borders, because of course our companies do not only work in Europe, they work on a global level. Engage market players. This is another key objective, to make sure that the membership of Lighting Europe is extended to new players, in particular small players, small associations that will then spread the word even further in new countries. So I'm looking in particular at Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, some Nordics are still missing. So we want to see more actors around the table being part of our family. And we also would like to give more space to CEOs. We are indeed organizing specific events only for them, where they can meet, discuss, and then come with recommendations to Lighting Europe. Fair marketplace, it's our last key objective. It's our, let's say, more traditional mission of Lighting Europe. So to fight for good rules for our industry that also well implemented for a level playing field. So this is the Bible of Lighting Europe. Now we can move to the next section, which is dedicated to the way Lighting Europe is structured and the way we work. Lighting Europe is made of 4 main working groups that are working on our 4 main policy areas. So the first one we can mention is the Better Enforcement Working Group. Is dedicated to, as the words say, that clearly having rules that are better enforced in Europe. At European level, at national level, there is a better surveillance, and there are less products that are not complying that then are spreading on the market. We are looking in particular at online marketplaces where we are very worried. We see this market growing exponentially, and this is not only good news, of course, it's also good news for our companies, but it's also bad news with a lot of non-compliant products being sold on European markets without any actor to be then responsible for non-compliance. So this is not acceptable. We are fighting against and to have better rules for online marketplaces. Sustainability, of course, is where we dedicate our energies to discuss and influence files related to environmental policies in particular. And then value of lighting is that we are focusing on lighting system and promoting the value of lighting in the different applications fields, from the building to the outdoor space. So this is where we call for a unified approach on artificial light at night. We will work on the workplace directive and on all the different applications of the smart cities. Some product rules this is instead where we dedicate our attention to product specific rules, not only lighting specific only. We also work on all other product groups, regulations that might have an impact on lighting. For example, recently we have been working on external power supplies regulation, where we manage and secure that these rules will have a minimal impact on our products and our control gears, since they are already regulated by lighting specific rules. But who is doing all this work? Not only, of course, the staff of Lighting Europe is about instead a large number of experts that take part actively to our activities. We organize online meetings all over the year, but we strongly believe that face-to-face meetings can really make the difference. We make much more progress and more quickly. So 3 times a year, we organize a full week of meetings. This is what we call on social media our crazy weeks. And we have meetings from Monday to Thursday or to Friday with dinners the day before. So we chat, we discuss, we meet, we dispute, we laugh together, and it's amazing. And this is a couple of pictures from some of our last meetings. But in Lighting Europe, we do not only have big working groups with a lot of members, we also have smaller groups dedicated to more specific topics. First of all, the digital group is dedicated to compliance with cybersecurity rules. And you know very well that connected lighting is more and more a key topic for our industry. So we need to know now all the new rules that apply to connected products. Emergency lighting, of course, dedicated to all rules, requirements, and standards that concern emergency luminaires. And then standardization. This is where our members coordinate their action in the different standardization bodies at European and global level to make sure that they speak with one voice. They do not officially represent Lighting Europe. As you know, standardization bodies members represent their national committee, but being members of Lighting Europe, they coordinate and manage to speak with one voice. But the natural environment of Lighting Europe is the so-called Brussels bubble. I don't know if you're familiar with this expression, but this is the this district in Brussels, where a lot of different organizations act and live and work every single day. We count more than 13,000 organizations being officially registered in the EU Transparency Register. So that's the register of lobbying organizations. Of course, Lighting Europe is one of them. But this means that we are not alone. We are not the only one. Clearly speaking to the EU institutions, we have a lot of competitors that are all potential friends, allies, or maybe enemies, who knows. But Lighting Europe can be extremely effective, even if we represent a relatively small industry, due to our expertise, of course, based on many years of work and experience, and a few secrets and of our job. So first of all, you need to work and influence well in advance. The most effective actions are those where you can even start well before the European Commission, which is the EU institution who is usually in charge of taking legislative or policy initiative, starts to work. So there are some files like the lighting regulations where they are so important that we start sharing our messages to the policy officer in charge of the Commission even before he has started to type. So he knows before he starts already what are the views of the most important stakeholder of this in this field when it comes to the lighting regulation. And then we talk to the European Commission when they are active, when they are typing, when they're looking for input. We take part to public consultations, of course. And then it's the moment of when the legislative proposal is out and is handed over to the Council and the European Parliament. And so the debate extends to many more new policy and decision makers. So it's much more challenging. But then thanks to our network, we managed to build a partnership basically on every single file where we are active. So we are basically never alone, and we always lobby with other actors in other sectors. Can be other industries, can be NGOs, consumers organizations, can be other authorities, and together we lobby in a much more effective way until the end, the adoption, and even further, because then the implementation at national level can be key, like it's the case for the EPBD, but also the enforcement of rules that take place at the national level is a part of the story that we follow quite closely indeed. But do we talk only to the EU institutions? No, of course, we also talk to the wider the supply and value chain of the lighting industry in different ways. We believe that social media can have a strong impact indeed, and we see that our number of followers grows impressively every year. So 1,200 new followers in this first months of 2025. We organize events, online events like the European Lighting Forum that open to the whole value chain. We organize face-to-face, of course, events. We partner with dozens of organizations. We even publish videos on YouTube to promote the basics of lighting and promote the value of lighting, the importance of lighting. And now let's go to your needs. What do you gain becoming a member of Lighting Europe? As I mentioned before in this elevator pitch, the first value, the first benefit is, of course, to receive advanced information. So to know well in advance what your company can expect for the future, from the future. Education is also part of the services we provide, so trainings and, of course, guidelines. So our guidelines, we publish every year new guidelines dedicated to the different issues of relevance for the lighting industry. So, for example, a visual guide on emergency lighting, a guidance on how to evaluate the performance of LED-based luminaires, a EU Green Deal compendium that helps our companies navigate the EU Green Deal. And of course, this guide is under review because I don't know if you're aware, but the EU Green Deal is also under review with a number of simplification proposals and omnibus amendments that we are following closely every day. And then these are the most well-known guidelines of Lighting Europe. These are those dedicated to lighting-specific rules. And we are arrived to many editions of these guidelines, eco-design, energy labeling, and April database. They are widely known, but take into account they're not only read and followed by companies, but also many other actors, including the market surveillance authorities themselves, that double-check rules with our guidance to evaluate if a product is compliant or not. That's important for you to know. We organize then trainings. So lately, as said before, we're specializing in environmental issues and topics, so LCA, EPDs, substances of concern, which net zero decarbonization strategy for the lighting industry in particular. Yes, as you see on top right, Brussels Direct Webin is accompanying lighting companies on their decarbonization, but this is a series of webinars, of trainings we are organizing to accompany our companies down the road to net zero. But every month we organize 2-3 mini trainings dedicated to key topics for our industry. Could be the Data Act, disclosure requirements, packaging. Every year we organize around 22 webinars, and the speakers are friends of our industry, for example, representative of the packaging industry, the cosmetics industry, the toys industry, or other partners, new partners, like, for example, the Astronomy Union, experts or researchers, consultants, and even policymakers themselves. They take part to these webinars as direct speakers, like you see for this Data Act webinar that took place on the 1st of October. So this was when it comes to the advanced information training and education. And now let's have a look at where do we have a direct impact on the legislative framework. So Lighting Europe is influencing the future eco-design, energy label and lighting regulations, so regulations that directly apply to our products, but we are also looking at another review that is coming up. And I also noticed that many of you were aware of this acronym, the WE directive, so the waste of electronic equipment is also under review. So you must be aware that so not only requirements of the so-called SLR, so the eco-design rules, will be directly reviewed and applicable, of course, to lighting products, but also other rules are coming up due to the new framework that Teresa was mentioning before, the ESPR, so the Eco-Design for Sustainable Product Regulation. This is the new Eco-Design Directive, so the mother regulation that will integrate new requirements in our lighting specific rules. We are not sure about which of these requirements of Article 9 of the review clause of the eco-design regulation will be actually integrated in the new regulation. But we provided inputs on most of them, in all of them, to the Commission to share our views where we see really potential for simplification, clarification, or to have better rules or no rules at all. And of course, being the WE directive being reviewed, this is coming with additional topics that are also present in the eco-design regulation. In particular, we may expect from the WE review possibly new collection targets and new principles to be applied on the EPR fees, so the fees that you are paying to EPR actors to place a product on the market. We also expect some requirements that may have an impact on life cycle assessment declaration, EPDs, to be seen. For sure, we will be there to provide the views of our industry. Of course, working towards clarification and simplification of current rules. To have a look at another key file that will be discussed in 2026, apart from eco-design, labeling, EPREL, and the WE directive, is the legislation on PFAS, the so-called forever chemicals. This is a tricky one and a completely new one under the framework of REACH. Are you aware that the EU institution could potentially ban all products that contain PFAS? And if you are not able to replace your PFAS in your products, you should be then asking for a sort of an exemption to the EU institution to ask to take into account the specificity of your product that needs this PFAS for good reasons. As LightingEurope, we have been helping our members already finalizing a report with our requests and details about where PFAS are used in lighting products. And we are now updating it with a more recent list of requests. Of course, if you haven't presented your list of requests to the EU authorities, it's now high time to make sure you prepare for this file, presenting your requests. And if you're part of LightingEurope, of course, will be part of a stronger voice that represents the whole industry. Of course, only you knows the specificity of your products and knows what is better for your products. Taxonomy. This as a topic that is relevant for regarding your relations with your investors. Taxonomy is a list of criteria and activities that are considering and activities are to be considered green. So then green activities will receive much more attention by investors and will be object of investment by in the market. Of course, then it's key that our activities are part of it. Light sources and a number of other equipments are part of already of the taxonomy list, but something is still missing, is the luminaires. And we are working hard to make sure that they are also included explicitly, any kind of luminaire in the EU taxonomy. We are well in good relations with the EU Commission, and we are optimistic we can achieve some better results. Then another key file for LightingEurope is the topic of artificial light at night. You maybe had a chance to see that LightingEurope has been calling, not only in press releases and social media, but also in articles in Lighting Magazine, for a harmonized EU approach on artificial light at night. You may ask yourself, come on, are they really asking for another legislation after all the laws that already apply to lighting products? Well, here in this case, we are trying to ask to put some order in a chaos. So today, there are a lot of different pieces of legislation that impose to lighting products a number of different requirements for artificial light at night and to minimize the effects on the environment. We believe that instead a EU harmonized framework will be much more beneficial and consistent instead of many different fragmented rules that apply only in some regions. Sometimes they overlap, and some regions they have no rules at all. So we believe that instead the EU Commission should take ownership of this file in a legislative European framework. And we have the support of the Global Lighting Association to make sure that same principles and rules can be applied at other regional levels in other regions of the world. We are building a coalition. We're about to start a coalition of actors to ask policymakers to harmonize rules in the EU. And we're very happy to have today our colleagues of Lucy. They will be, of course, more than welcome to join our call for a harmonized set of rules on artificial light at night. When it comes instead from outdoor lighting to indoor lighting, the performance of the buildings directive This is now at the stage of national implementation. After a good number of achievements when it comes to lighting system, lighting controls, and indoor environmental quality being already integrated in the legislation at EU level, we are now working to get it right at national level with the support of our national associations. How can we do that? Again, building coalitions, organizing events, workshops, and organizing, of course, meetings with EU commissions and policymakers at national level. Another key topic for Lighting Europe, we make sure that our voice is particularly loud, is a topic I mentioned already quickly before. It's the enforcement of rules, in particular in online marketplaces. We ask for a level playing field in the EU market, and in particular for clear rules for the online marketplaces, for a fairer e-commerce. We recently published a joint call with 70 organizations. If you have a look at all these logos, you will recognize the toys industry, the home appliances, the furniture industry, different environmental NGOs, consumers, organizations. All together, we call policymakers to do better and clarify rules. Lucky enough, we will have two opportunities in 2026 and 27 to have our messages being introduced and integrated in legislation. That's our goal. Hopefully, we will be successful. The new legislative framework and the market surveillance regulation are under review in 2026. So these are opportunities for us to finally see possible concrete consequences of our lobbying action that is now lasting for several years. But how can you influence policymakers in the most effective way? You need data, you need numbers. Without data and numbers, your messages look kind of weak or empty. That's why every year we collect numbers to demonstrate how easy it is to find non-compliant products being sold online. And every year we look at different lighting products, so to demonstrate that the problem is not only concerning cheap consumers' products, but even professional products, including emergency lighting luminaires that are so key for the safety of people in buildings. Another benefit of being a member of Lighting Europe is the work we do on harmonization outside the legislative framework. So don't believe that Lighting Europe is only dedicated to legislation and policy lobby at EU level. We are also active in other fields, for example, product-specific rules and EPDs for lighting products. We see that there is an increased market demands for LCA assessment, EPD declaration. So an EPD, for those who do not know, is the environmental product declaration. So declaration to demonstrate what is the environmental footprint of a product. We need reliable information to provide to our customers, but how can we deal with that if rules to calculate this environmental footprint are not harmonized? That's why Lighting Europe has seen a gap in rules being produced by program operators active in Europe, and we have been drafting ourselves product-specific rules for luminaires in cooperation with PEP EcoPassport, the famous PSR 14. But for other products, we are working, first of all, on a technical memorandum of control gears that have been published recently. And now the idea is to cooperate with program operators and standardization bodies to make sure that this becomes a reference for everyone at European and global level. Advocate the value of lighting. That's one of the last parts of my presentation. We are the ambassador of what we call the lighting comes first. So of course, we first to focus on the EU institutions again, so make sure that lighting plays a key role in EU legislation that can create opportunities for our industry. First of all, of course, the low-hanging fruit is the energy efficiency legislation, eco-design, energy efficiency directive, EPBD, of course. You see, we speak at dinner debate, breakfast meeting, and even at the European Commission. That's on the right. This picture on the right is our president speaking with in a meeting organized by the Commissioner Jorgensen for Energy at the European Commission. But then we reach out not only, of course, to the EU institutions, but to the whole value chain. That's the goal of the European Lighting Forum. We organize around 3 webinars every year where we deal with specific topics for our industry, where we are asking for support and of other actors, from the control years, technical rules, technical memorandums and specific rules, to renovation of buildings, indoor environmental quality. But then we also organize face-to-face meetings. In particular, the European Lighting Summit a few months ago brought together many different actors, from representatives from the EU Commission to the president of ILD, so the lighting designer, Dark Sky, environmental NGOs, and cities and authorities together to discuss the key issues for the lighting industry. And we also support our industry in its institutional events. The Smart City Expo World Congress in Barcelona, starting again in a few days. We will be there to make sure lighting is not forgotten and is still on the agenda in smart cities all around the world. And we also part of institutional events such as the inauguration of the Light and Intelligent Building Istanbul. If you want to know more about everything we do, our team, our outcomes and successes, and how we structure, check out our annual report. It's available online. And just to quickly mention another future project of Lighting Europe, we will be present in Light and Building Frankfurt in March with a booth, with a CEO event. You're all invited. You will receive a save the date in a few days on the 10th of March in the afternoon, and a couple of open days like the one you're attending today, but face-to-face in Frankfurt. And then I will hand over to Teresa again.
Thank you so much, Elena. You deserve a glass of water. I'm officially the Mentimeter girl today. I have one more question for you, indeed, now that Elena has shown to you broadly all the activities and topics that we cover. And of course, it's not easy to do so in a few minutes. Maybe you have a bit more clear, how can Lighting Europe help you, your organization, your company? In this case, and sorry, I hope you are still connected to the previous Mentimeter. Yes, I see several that are still connected online. So for this question, we have a word cloud. So indeed, you can select some keywords on how we can hopefully support you. Sustainability is the first one popping up. Indeed, let me say the working group sustainability of Lighting Europe is, from the numerous point of view, the biggest one. So there is huge attention on that. Deep expertise on ESPR, eco-design. So what will come after for eco-design and information requirements for lighting products, guidelines. So we can support you indeed with guidelines on several topics, from EPREL, eco-design, labeling, and so on. Updates, what is going on here in the Brussels bubble that can impact you, and knowledge as well. So thank you again for sharing your thoughts in this interactive tool that we created for you. And I can pass over to you again with more concrete information about how to become a member, I think.
Thank you so much. Teresa, and everyone for your participation and playing the game with us. So I will now share the screen again. I think I'm already sharing it, isn't it?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So now concretely, how to become a member, how to apply. So there are different criteria depending if you are a company or an association. If you're a company, you want to become a member of Lighting Europe, you need to be first. And this was a question that was asked at the beginning. Is that only for suppliers of products, of lighting products? Indeed, Lighting Europe is about manufacturers of lighting products or components of lighting products. You need also to have at least one office registered in a country of Europe, continental Europe. You need to be a member of one of our national lighting associations, so the logos we have displayed at the beginning. You need to have a significant research and development activity, so no pure importers are allowed in Lighting Europe. And if you are a group of companies, only the ranking highest in the group becomes a member. Then when it comes to associations instead, it's much easier. You need to be an association representing lighting manufacturers at national level, so no regional associations are allowed. How to become a member this year? So you still have time to become a member in 2025. Of course, the fees will be reduced to the few weeks that are still left in 2025. To be allowed to become a member, you need to fill a form and sign it, having signed by an executive. You need to indicate the turnover, the global and the European one, the turnover of your members. If you are an association, you have to indicate the correspondent fees with our rules, and you have to indicate that, of course, you respect our rules, our code of conduct, and our statutes and bylaws, and to specify the groups where you want to be part of. The form is available until the end of 2025. It's online on our website and here at this link. But you need to know that we just yesterday had an extraordinary General Assembly of Lighting Europe where we have approved changes to our bylaws. It means that the system of membership fees will be changing in 2026. So again, there will be different criteria as in the current system, if you're a national association or if you're a company, with tiers and factors that will apply in a much more granular system. So this will be, we believe, a fairer system for everyone. Please consider that differently to our current rules, the turnover of companies does not include the global turnover. So only the European turnover will be required, and that's the only one relevant. If you see on the right side of the slide, you will see a screenshot of our simulator that will make available to you. If you are a company, for example, with 232 million turnover, your fees will be around 43,440. If an association has the same turnover with all these members together, of course, the fees will be very different. An association would pay 8,620 euros. The simulator is available and is accessible here. But we have a surprise for you. For those of you who have stayed until now, there is a surprise in case that could be interesting in case you're not yet sure to become a member already today. We are inviting you for an extraordinary opportunity to become a guest for 6 months at Lighting Europe. You will need still to fill a form that needs to be signed by an executive of your company or association, where you indicate, of course, the lighting turnover of your members, if you're an association, or of your company. And then you have to already select the corresponding fees that would apply in case you decide then afterwards to become a member. the working groups where you want to contribute, and of course that you accept our rules, our code of conduct. In this way, you will be able, without any engagement, meaning apart from filling the form and be present, you are not then obliged at all to stay as a member, and there is no automatic membership that applies. But for 6 months, you will be able instead to be part of our groups, to voice even your messages if you want. And at the end of June, we will just be asking you, do you want to stay? Do you want to remain with us or not for 26 or 27? So this opportunity is only for 5 actors, 5 organizations that will be accepted based on a first come, first served, of course, if you fulfill all criteria. We give you time until the end of November, and then you will be joining as a guest from the 1st of January. So you will receive via email after this webinar the form you can fill. There is a form to become a member, of course, and a form to ask to be a guest. And I would like to conclude my part saying that becoming a Lighting Europe members would be kind of part of being part of a team. We call it a family. A trade associations often feel this feeling of we are part of the same family. And if you ask yourself why firemen are in this picture, it's because sometimes even in the lighting industry we have some emergency we need to deal with, and only together we can deal effectively. Of course, when it comes to you yourself, you are the only one, your company, I mean your association, you know what do you need and how to deal with your needs. If you need help, if you think that alone you cannot make it, we are there to voice your concern, to be the loudspeakers of your messages, to help you and to support you. Of course, being part of our association, you will be then supporting others like you that need help and support, sharing your expertise, your views, your concern, your updates, your heads up. And so we need your help to help your company, and we need your help to support the lighting industry. So then I would like to hand over again to Teresa to moderate the question and answer session, in case there are still any questions and answers. Teresa.
Thank you so much, Elena. Indeed, we are perfectly on time, but we still have a few minutes if you want to raise any questions. You can either indeed type it in the chat box, or since we are a manageable group of participants, I also would encourage you, if you want, to switch on your camera, your microphone, and come with your question or comment. Indeed, I see that we have a person who would like to intervene. I'm afraid to misspell your name, so maybe I will let yourself introduce you, if you can, please, and then please feel free to ask any question or make a comment.
Hello, my name is Dwayne Wagner. I'm from Zalux. Thank you so much for the presentation today. I had the question at the beginning, which I don't know was clearly answered, is that since we are already members of ZVAE, and ZVAE is already a member to you, what are the additional benefits, if any, that we would get by being a member to you, even if we already are a member to ZVAE? That was maybe needing to be clear for me in order to present the organization to my director.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. If I
Dwayne.
your name.
Dwayne,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. That's okay.
I don't see the chat part as well. I'm sorry for that. So first of all, thanks a lot. So I think that you should absolutely make use of the advantages you have already being part of ZVI. because members of ZVI already have access to, well, for example, guidelines of Lighting Europe and are invited to our public events in the first place. And of course, here and there, ZVI will share updates on the work we do, but this is at the discretion of ZVI, what to share with you on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Of course, instead, being part of Lighting Europe directly means you will receive updates daily. You will be able to influence all the pieces of legislation you want to impact, you want to influence. So, of course, being members of ZVI, you need to voice your concern to ZVI, and ZVI needs to actively then be part of Lighting Europe and influence the meetings to get your points included in. Sometimes it happens, of course, association can be effective in picking up points from their members. Sometimes they do not have time to take part to our meetings. Not all of them, of course. Associations struggle to follow all the meetings, task forces, and working groups we have in Lighting Europe. So, of course, being direct members, you will not miss any of them. So you will have then early insights on a daily basis, influence all the groups you need, and of course receive all our invitations for our trainings, our webinars. Webinars as well. We organize 2-3 every month, but they are not open to members of our members, unless our members, so ZVI in this case, really requires, please allow exceptionally my 2-3 members to attend this specific webinar. So here and there you can attend 1 or 2 webinars of Lighting Europe here and there. But of course, if you're a member of Lighting Europe, you can attend all of them. With your participation to Lighting Europe directly, you will also be part of our events and those where we invite policymakers, so we connect directly with them, consultation forum, official meetings. You will be there with us directly in the room. That, of course, not possible for indirect members. And we will also be able to influence the work of the Global Lighting Association, being part of the groups and task forces of the Global Lighting Association, where we influence rules at global level. So I hope this answers your question.
Was great. I will be in touch with ZVAE to see how their involvement is and speak with management about the possibility of further involvement. I have to go to the next meeting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Indeed, we are a bit running over time, and I see some people are leaving, but if you're still connected and you still have questions, please do not hesitate to raise your hand or type it in the chat box. It can be a question on the activities that we do, the policies that we cover, or concrete questions on becoming a member if something was not clear. Thank you, Emily. I see that Emily found the session informative. Let's check if anybody needs any clarification. Otherwise, I think we can move on with the conclusive part.
Thank you. Then I will I will be again in presentation mode. This is for Marion to conclude.
Yes, indeed. So thank you very much again for joining today. You can see on the screen our different contacts if you want to reach out to us. So of course, you know, Elena is the Secretary General. If you're interested in everything environment, you know, product rules we discussed before, taxonomy, ESPR, please get in touch with Teresa. If you want to know more about the work we do on Light at Night, on the PBG, and the work we do on enforcement, feel free to reach out to me. But in general, if you have any questions, thank you for getting in touch with us. And again, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Elena, for the very informative presentation indeed. I think Teresa was right when she said that you need a glass of water. I think you deserve a good break now. And again, thank you, everyone. We hope that you get in touch with us for further information, and we remain at your disposal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a very good day.
Have a good day.